You're listening to the Millennovator podcast, where we host the most innovative millennial entrepreneurs, and you learn the secret tips, proven tricks, and profitable tools they have picked up from entrepreneurial infancy to straight up business empire, and every stage in between. And now, your hosts and money Millennovators, Jonathan and Will.
Give me the right now, blow right down. I'm trying to sit it now, blow right down. We trying to get it now,
Millennovator listeners, what is up? It's your boy Will sitting right here next to Jonathan. What's happening, my friend?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing? Just trying to bear through this tropical storm weather right now.
Bear through. It's like when they have the hurricanes and you see like the chairs knocked over, the plastic chairs, and they're like, rip Sandy. But it's the middle of summer, and we're working on a freaking awesome website for you guys, by the way.
Yeah, we are. We're really excited about it, too.
Super fired up. John Lee Dumas really hooked it up. You know, coding is not in my brain. I am not built and born and bred as a coder. A lot of you guys out there listening may be.
Yeah.
But I am not. And we're trying to bootstrap this thing intentionally to show you that you can bootstrap a business. We're doing this all for you.
Yeah.
Millennovator is literally about teaching you how to start and get a business off the ground running and be as profitable as possible. And I do believe that Drew Jackson, who is our guest today, has a little bit of something to say to that, right? They just started making revenue.
Yeah, they did.
The guy owns and founded Axle Advertisements. So they wrap 18-wheelers with
just such a crazy
ads.
concept. I mean, just think about how many, if you ever take trips in a car, I mean, I have a friend that if it's over 2 hours, he's going to fly. But for most of us out there, we drive to take our vacations. I mean, think about how many trucks you pass, and think about all those trucks that don't have advertisements on them.
And think about all the ones that you really want to just give the bird because they drive super recklessly.
Oh gosh. Well, when you have like two in the right lane, and then one wants to like jump over in front of you so it can pass the other one and then go slow, it doesn't make any sense.
Going up a hill, it never works.
Oh my gosh.
But the fact of the matter is, you're right. There are hundreds of thousands of eyes on trucks at all times. And Drew's not the first person to think about this.
He's not, but he's taking it to a new level, I think, because not only is he taking the advertisement into play, but he has created an algorithm to capitalize on that advertisement. And he'll explain a little bit of that in the interview here in a little bit.
And he's got the logistics of it, right? So he has basically nailed down the logistics of this thing to figure out, and now he's creating a platform. I mean, that's kind of how he's pivoting into the next series.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you what, I know advertising, right? I have done advertising, 4 of the last 8 years of my life. I grew up didn't grow up. I basically did grow up at the University of Alabama. However, I went to school at the University of Alabama and sold advertising. I was an AE there for 3 years. Shout out to my Crimson White team, right? Sold newspaper advertising for 3 years, and we crushed it, man. We had over $1 million in revenue our final year, which, now I'm looking back and I'm thinking 7 figures of revenue. Whoop-de-whoop, right? Congrats. However, we sold 7 figures worth of revenue our final year, and I thought, man, this is incredible, right? I was getting to work with these business owners. I was really getting to learn the ins and outs of advertising.
Yeah, crushing it.
And then I realized print advertising is dead, right? Like, it stopped.
Yeah,
it's over.
That's true.
And advertising today has just become, a lot of it, just such a bore, so old and just pappus, just nasty. But Drew's pushing that to a new level, right? I mean, we've seen ads on trucks before, but have you seen a truck that's wrapped with an Avatar trailer on it? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's thinking of these new cutting edge designs to throw on these things and new ways to put them on there.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool to me is, you think about wrapping a truck in an advertisement, you think about maybe the back and the sides of the truck. Well, they wrap like all parts of the truck. I mean, most of you notice how you have like the side fenders now for the aerodynamics of it all. I mean, they wrap that. You can have different designs on different parts. I mean, it's in depth. I mean, it's not just like your simple throw up a billboard on there. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, and it looks really, really good.
Well, and I gotta say, I'm super proud of the guy. You'll hear his story here in just a minute, but he started this business on accident, right?
Well, almost because he had to.
Kind of a forceful, he didn't think, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm not going to speak for him. I'll let him speak for himself. But he just kind of fell into this, right? And now here he is. He signed his first contract, and he's doing the thing. So that just goes to show you, for those of you out there that think this idea has been thought of before, I can't be the one to do it, I'm not going to be able to make it, somebody else out there is going to do it better than me, faster than me, cheaper than me. That is not true.
You just got to get out there and do it. And that's one of the things Drew says is like eventually you got to get to the point where you get out there and you get after it. And that's something, and I think y'all all see that in this interview, but that's something that Drew's all about. He just gets out there, he meets people, which he's amazing at, and he gets after it.
So guys, check out this interview with Drew. Honestly, Jonathan, what you just said is one of my favorite parts of the interview. He is a connector. He connects the dots. He gets it, and he understands that having a mentor is huge. In fact, he's got a mentor in almost every division of the business just to go to seek information.
Yeah, he's got more than one.
You do not need to be the smartest person in the room ever.
That's right.
Always surround yourself with people smarter than you. That's why Drew is on the Millennovator podcast today. Check out the interview now.
Check it out one time, I got a show to do. And if you love hip-hop, I'm about to perform for you.
All right, so we are sitting here in the house, in the actual house.
In the house.
In the office. Another episode in the office. We had Ryan in the office here.
You're getting more regular, actually.
Yeah, pretty cool. Though Skype is neat. Drew, it's good to see your face here.
Glad to be here.
Hopefully nobody ever tells you you've got a radio face. That's an insult more than it is anything, but you look good today.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here, man. So tell us a little bit more for the listeners that are out there who don't know you, don't know your face, don't know your business. Tell us who you're here with, who you're representing, where you're at in the business stage, and just a quick intro.
Yeah, so I am here with Axle Advertisements. I was able to found Axle coming right out of college. Yeah, so Axle was created to connect brands to trucking companies who are driving where those brands are looking at promoting campaigns. We allow the carrier to earn an additional revenue stream each month by essentially leasing out their trailer to us. We put a vinyl wrap on their trailer. They earn a percentage of ad revenue each month. And then with our brand, we're running a lot of data metrics to see exactly who's seeing that trailer as it's being driven down the road. So we're kind of pairing out-of-home advertising with a digital twist to it.
That's innovative.
That is very innovative.
Do you know how many trucks are like on the interstate on a regular basis? Do you know this?
I think it's like 3 mil.
3 mil. I bet you 2 mil of those are on I-40. Have you ever driven
Where's
down
I-40?
I-40? It just goes like from
That's gotta be
coast to
Arkansas.
coast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
20 is like the
gosh.
most traveled road in the nation. Between Atlanta and Birmingham is the most trafficked for. Like,
That explains
freight.
why that
Really?
road sucks. Because the
brutal.
potholes are terrible on it. So
They
tell me
really do
more.
construction on it.
Yeah,
for
it's
the
so
last
bad, and they're
15
always under
years.
construction. Exactly. Any of you guys listening, good luck traveling through the great state of Alabama. Hopefully, you'll see some of Drew's ads.
Better
There.
than Mississippi.
That's the only thing we got going for us in here in Alabama. So you've mentioned to me before that your father, is that correct, was in the trucking industry like when you were growing
Yeah.
up? Is that in the bloodline? Like, did that have any influence deciding as to what you wanted to do? How did you found, or why did you found this company?
Yeah, so I guess my dad is in the logistics space, and so I've been in it as long as I can really remember. My dad's been with a variety of trucking companies, and growing up, that's kind of just naturally what I leaned to as I got older, and what I loved. Was about logistics, was about connecting, was about the puzzle, right? And so he kind of was the inspiration a little bit, more or less. It was one of my first loves, first passions, and so which kind of led into Axle, the opportunity to start Axle.
That's awesome. Obviously, freight advertising, trucking advertising is unique in itself. So tell us a little bit more about like some of the stuff that you can track for some of your customers and different things.
Yeah, the logistics side.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
I think what's really cool is having the ability to actually quantify impression data of motorists on the road. So being able to take where our truck is going or where it's been, and being able to figure out, all right, who's on that road with it, who's passing that truck, or who's being that trailer. And so being able to just get granular with that data, I think allows us to stand apart.
But wait, so you said get granular with it. How fine are you getting? Are you talking about this is a mom who's 36 with her 4 kids in the car, or are you talking about more like this person makes this amount of money, or they live here, or
Yeah, so right now, being in the startup, you're kind of, right now we're MVP phase. We've launched, we've got revenue coming in, which is awesome, but we are, eventually hopefully get to that point where we can get that green. Right now it's strictly impression reach, quantifying that, and really the geographical impact that ad is making on that area. Right. And so it's really cool that you kind of get into that. That's going to happen. I'll give you that. Yeah. At some point in time, it will happen because the data's there. It's just a matter of mining it and refining it and just taking our proprietary formula or algorithm, whatever you really want to call it, and just being able to sell that. That's really powerful information. And for people listening, if you have an iPhone, you're being tracked, and so you can't really turn that off.
And you're probably listening to this show
you're probably
on that very iPhone right now.
Go check your location.
Well, the data is good for all parties because obviously it's better for who the advertisement's for, who's buying the advertisement, but also the trucking companies because if they're getting data on whose eyeballs are seeing it where, then obviously the sales are going to go up and it's better for everyone.
Yeah, well, and that brings up a whole new interesting point, which I don't even know if you and I have really discussed, but what we're pulling, our data, we have a GPS device that it actually attaches to the trailer, and we're able to run metrics, speeding reports and harsh driving, and really able to look at, is that a good driver, is that a bad driver, and so they can end up taking that data to their insurance company and requesting cheaper insurance for having good driving.
So you're hitting parts of the business that you weren't even really planning on hitting, but you're just as an added bonus.
It's just an added bonus that we kind of throw into our carriers.
Yeah.
So there is a startup in Atlanta, Drew, that you might be familiar with. I've got a friend who has a really good friend that's kind of been there from the start, right? Secondary connections, and I know that you're good at connecting that. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. I think it's called Switch or Clutch. So their whole concept, and when you said that about tracking the truck and getting the data back to the business of the trucking side,
right?
Those guys actually have... Their business model to the consumer is, okay, look, you don't need to buy a car. You don't even need to buy car insurance, right? We will give you a new car any day of the week as long as you drop off your old car at this parking deck in Buckhead. So this is in Atlanta, right?
Right.
So the idea is you can get two different versions. You could have the mid-tier, which is like $600 or $700 a month, right? So they're trying to say, sub your car payment and your insurance payment, and you can flip your car as often as you want to. Is it a beautiful day in Atlanta and you want to go on a date? Then get the...
And these aren't Ford Tauruses. But
no.
Not to shame on anyone who has a Ford Taurus, but...
Yeah, I mean, I drive a Nissan Altima, and it is not a Nissan Altima. So their mid-level is like really like pretty fancy Lexus type stuff. Their next level is like a Porsche 911. And I'm talking about everything from truck. You need to go on a duck hunt that weekend, then get the F-150 and take it. You know what I'm saying? All over, right? So to the consumer, they're making a little bit of money on the car rental. My first thought was, what are you doing? You're buying all these depreciating assets. What's the point?
Right.
That seems like a terrible business model.
Well, enterprise, similar to what they do.
Well, yes, it is similar in that regard. You're right, but they're not flipping it as often. He told me, though, their secret is they're actually collecting the data right from the back end of the cars. So they're tracking where the cars are going, they're tracking how quickly they're driving, they're tracking how long they're parked, where they're parked, all this type of stuff, selling that to the insurance companies for big data, which is a whole nother pivot that your business may be able to make at some point in time if you got into the big logistics side. I don't know, you saying that just kind of brought that to my mind and my wheels started turning.
The wheels are always turning in my head, so probably too much sometimes. Just trying to stay on track is not a struggle, but it, as an entrepreneur, you go in a lot of different directions.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I can relate.
True that. Well, let's talk a little bit about like your story and how you got started. I know we've obviously talked a little bit about it and how it's very interesting how you got started in this whole business. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I went to college actually. Did not drop out. Graduated from Stanford
Insert the
University.
applause
Proud.
sound clip right there.
Proud alum of
Nice.
Stanford. But yeah, if you would have asked me 4 years ago if I would have run a business right out of college, I would have told you you're crazy. Owning a business has always been a dream of mine. It's just
A more distant dream, maybe?
Yeah, maybe a more distant dream, just not really knowing when it was going to happen. And always loving logistics, I always thought in the back of my head that that's just what I was going to do, right? But, at Stanford, it kind of took a little twist, took a little left turn. And I fell in love with sports marketing, with experiential marketing per se, and really how the consumer, the fan, through an in-game and pre-game experiences were able to receive some brand's marketing or whatever it may be, really native, just organically. And so really was pursuing that heavily. Thought that's what I was going to do. After college, it kind of got shifted a little bit. And so without going into too many details, I had a verbal job offer, didn't happen, didn't turn out like I thought it would. And so it kind of left me searching for what's that next step look like. And so as we talked earlier, my first passion is logistics. Well, in college, my second passion became this experiential marketing tool. And so I was like, well, how in the world can I pair these two? And so, well, lo and behold, starting a business kind of formed. The thought of it kind of happened. And while I was in London in, I think it was December of 15, got a message from one of the deans at Stanford. And she said, hey, I noticed that you're one class short and you're supposed to graduate in 6 months. If you want to graduate, you need to take one more class. And she gave me these list of options. And well, crazily enough, they all coincided with my other classes. And so it left me struggling to what am I'm trying to enjoy London. I don't want to be thinking about school, what I'm doing in January. And so we got to the point where she knew I was heavily involved in entrepreneurship and business and that stuff. And I was really passionate about that. And she's like, well, why don't you just start a business and count it as an internship? And I was like, is that a thing?
You would do that for me?
Can you do that? And so anyway, we ended up doing that. One of 2 students at Stanford do that,
Wow.
both of which now own companies. So
That's awesome.
That's
check
I
mark
was
to
about to
that.
say.
So maybe they should let more
talk about an
people do that.
incubator. Yeah, seriously.
So anyway, I did that, and the only contingency was that I had to apply for the university startup competition. And
How'd you feel about that when that was the part of the term?
I
question.
mean, going down, not experiencing something, right? You kind of, when you don't know something, you're kind of fearful, I think, and you
Yeah,
just don't
sure.
know, but you're also kind of young and naive, and you're
It's an
just a
excited
go-getter.
fear,
That's the unknown, right? I mean,
You just got to go after it. And
Yeah.
so she said you had to do it, and I was like, all right. I was, a month and a half in, I loved it, and then kind of hit a wall, that entrepreneurship wall, because you start experiencing real challenges and struggles. And so, I took about a month off, and, whether intentionally or not. And I guess that was maybe focusing on the coursework, dealing with, just school. I mean,
well,
trying
you
to
were probably
enjoy
thinking
senior
about
year.
getting a job.
Getting a job, graduating,
right?
the safe route, right?
Yeah, sure.
Finally had to kick it back in gear, and I had I don't know if I've ever told the story, but I had to turn in my business plan, and I had 4 days to write it. And so I wrote it, and
Business plans are for the birds, man. You pivot to your audience. You did the right thing by just rushing that thing out there. I mean, get it out there.
so we just
and do
did it.
Yeah.
And going through the process, it was a lot of fun. I ended up winning it. Didn't really expect to win it, but we did and get a little bit of cash out of it. And so for me, that was nothing but more like a market validation thing.
Oh, yeah.
After I graduated, the decision became really easy. You can go get a job or you're going to start this. And fortunately, I have extremely supportive parents.
That's
and who were like, you got to go for it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're young. You don't have any expenses. You're not tied down, with a relationship or anything. So go for it. What's stopping you? Now's the time to fail. And fail quick and fail often.
Yeah. You never fail, you learn, right?
Yeah, I don't fail at all. I learn every day. So anyway, so that was kind of how Axel started, and so from a school, is this serious or is this not? You just got to graduate. All right, let's do this. To we're making money now. So just going with it.
That's awesome. Man.
Shooting from the hip.
So how about, that was a huge piece. I think that was your turning point, was winning the competition. Not only because, and I've said this before on our show, but early on, entrepreneurs are so just volatile and exposed, and they want to get encouragement. They want to know that they're either right or wrong, and then change, right? So that was a big piece for you, but also you've mentioned to me where one of your big passions lies. And earlier you mentioned connecting the dots logistically, but I think you do that in people really, really well. Can you talk behind that side of things? I mean,
yeah, so I've never really met a stranger before. If anyone knows me personally, I think they can attest to that. I love meeting people, hearing their stories. The ability to learn something about someone else I feel like is so cool. And for me, at first, it was very businessy. And it kind of, it rubbed me the wrong way, because it took the relationship out of it. It took the purpose and the drive out of it. It was like, I don't want to do this just, for some sort of financial gain. Like, I'm not going to take advantage of people or use people. And I feel like so often networking is a tool, that is used, and all it is, strutting how big your ego is, or, this is how deep my pocketbooks are, or this is the image that I want you to be, I want you to think I am this specific person. And it just frustrated me. So I'm like extraordinarily relational with people, and I just want to get to know them, explore what they're passionate about. If that's in business or personal, like whatever, like let's just get to know you. And I'm very selfless in that regard, because I love making the dots happen. And so, Will Jonathan, like, if I see something, I'm gonna reach out to you, and say, hey, I met X person, that'd be a good fit for you, And I probably overextend my boundaries a little bit. I take a lot. I just, if I meet somebody, they're now my friend. I just put them in the friend category. And so whether that's good or bad, it kind of happened right after that pitch competition. I had met 3 or 4 people, and more to get back to that market validation is like when someone comes up and is like, all right, how much do you want? How much equity are you willing to give up if I write you a check right now? It's like, all right, so you see something in this. All right, I'm not doing this because of that. But
yeah.
Anyway, I just love people, man. And I think it's, I love hearing people, I love pouring into people for whatever, for whatever that's worth. If you listen to my 2 cents or whatnot. But it's just listening to people, seriously. It's just listening and understanding what their needs are, what they're passionate about. How can you create value in someone else's life? And whether it's, thinking of somebody in an article you read and emailing it and forwarding it to them, or, you see this guy and, he was telling you about his back hurting, and you reach out and ask him how their back's hurting, or whatever that is. Like, it's just the little things. And I know that may sound cliche or whatnot, but it really is it's true, and it's hard to, it's really hard for me to put down exactly what it is. If I see something, like, I feel it out more than anything else, and I don't know if that's a gift or if that's something you can really learn.
I know for me, I struggle with remembering people's names. What resonated with me is just you saying you just have to listen to people, because I'll go meet someone, and while they're introducing themselves, I'm going to tell on myself a little bit here.
I was going to say, this is going to be shameful.
It is. But while they're introducing themselves, I'm already thinking about what I'm going to say. And 9 times out of 10, I don't even remember their name. And that, and it really is. It is little things like listening to what people say and not being truly selfless. I mean, how far did that get you?
I feel like, don't get me wrong, I've been there. I've been in that situation where
Drew popped out of the womb. That's how they're doing.
It's perfect. No, not at all. No, but it's like, I feel you, because it's like you get in a conversation with someone and you're worried about how you're going to manipulate the conversation to get back to that talking point that you want, right? Because we're all selfish individuals. Yeah. We act for whatever's in our own best interest. We're humans. We're flawed. That's the part of it. Yeah, it's just it's a difficult struggle. Don't get me wrong. I've been there. I think I told you that. Like, I recognized that flaw in myself, and I said, I don't want to be known for this. I don't want to be this guy, and I switched.
Well, I'll tell you what. One of the first times that you and I met, Drew, I've had a lot of meetings with a lot of people through the last 4 years out of school, and even in school, I was an ad exec for the paper and was meeting with business owners all the time, right? I was very accustomed to sitting down with somebody and them saying, now, who do you know that I can help? And just looking at a piece of paper, right?
Yeah.
Just making their pitch.
Right.
When you and I sat down, you looked at me and you're like, so how can I help you?
What can I do to help you?
What can I do to help you? You know? And like that is just that little bit of introspection. It's refreshing, you know, in a world where so many people are so self-absorbed. I do think that the majority of Millennovators out there are just abundant people, abundant thinkers and abundant people who are all in this thing together, right? If you can go and do this better than I can, then go and do it, right? That's what we should be in an economy that allows that, right? This is why I'm doing it, because I can do it better than you.
Yep.
And so, you know, just the thought of being abundant, I think you nail that. And you've told me before about how mentoring has impacted you. Is that something that you do regularly? How long have you been doing that? Have you mentored someone yet? Or?
Yeah. So I feel like I got into that late into college. You know, the whole mentoring thing. You hear it. So it's another cliche term. You know, I didn't grow up with parents that were like, oh, you need a mentor or whatever. I think that was Sanford. That was that liberal arts education, for whatever that's worth. Whether it's mentoring or an advisory board, I think they're both very important. For me, I look at the different aspects of my life. You know, things that I want to grow in, whether it be spiritual, personal, relational, professionally, etc. And so I want to mirror specific people that are in my life. And so I go out and I seek relationships with those people, try to do it as organically as possible. When I'm struggling with something, you know, if it's something I'm struggling with spiritually, I can go and say, all right, hey, X, I need help, I'm struggling with this. But if it's something like professionally, and even it's categorized, I've literally got it categorized. I can say, all right, well, if, you know, for Axle right now, there's general business, there's Axle trucking, there's like ad marketing, those types of people. So I can go to specific individuals and ask for advice. And I think that the thing that millennials, at least myself, I can say this, for I can't speak for everyone, but it's really hard to ask. You don't know how to have that conversation. People are really receptive. It's like a really humbling thing to ask someone if they'll mentor you, or if they'll be on your advisory board or whatever. And so it's just not thinking you know it all, being a continual learner, and always seeking counsel, because people have done it better than you. You know, you're as a millennial entrepreneur, like I feel like I've been put in a cool position, but I don't act like I don't feel like I'm the smartest person in the room. I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be surrounded by other smarter people, and so that's kind of how I think about my advisory board. You know, I could call up on X person and say, hey, look, I need this, you know, and they'll make that connection happen. But the thing is that is really crucial is getting other people to believe in you. It starts with one, and then it grows from there. You don't really want linear growth, you want exponential growth, and I know you hear that all the time in startup world. But it even is the same way for relationships. And what you're really doing is with those relationships, you're creating brand ambassadors for yourself.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so those people who have a lot more pool, who are a lot older, who have, you know everyone in town, are able to say, hey, do you know Drew? You know, here's what he's doing. And so, oh, that's cool, I want to meet him, or, you know, whatever. So then you get a 45-minute conversation. Well, hey, do you know X person? I want to introduce you to them. And so it really just kind of goes on and goes on and goes on. And so now, I mean, I was doing that constantly, and now I'm to the point where I have to say no to people, which is a whole nother conversation ourselves about how to say no. Because, you know, you have time. You have to value your time, and you have to you have to figure out what's important to you and prioritize that. But you can't meet with everyone. You can't talk with everyone, unfortunately. And so, at the beginning, it's, you know, when you're getting started, you're going to meet with anyone and everyone that's willing to talk to you. And then as you progress, you kind of become more selective to, you know. Personally, I'd love to hang out with you, but, you know, I don't have time. I've got to focus on my business. I've got to focus on all these other things, and so it's not that hard. You just have to try.
Yeah.
I'll go off on my tangent about this. I just want people to care, man. I don't know if our generation does.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one who thinks that.
And they want like a hand up or a handout, and it's like you're gonna have to work your butt off to get whatever it is.
That's the key right there. Right there.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't blessed in the regard of social capital. I'm a connector. It's what I do. I've built relationships with people and I'm able to connect other people, and as a result, it pays off somewhat. And so I don't mean that as humbly as I can possibly say that, but yeah, just build relationships, people.
Social capital. I love that. I love that term. That's nice.
It's a good one. There's a lot of words that I've created. Pseudo-relational is my latest one.
Pseudo-relational. Okay, so can you spell that for me, and please
PSUEDO dash relational.
and please describe to our listeners what in the
Yeah, it
world
basically means people are fake. it's my really fancy term for saying people are fake. It's that surface level talk.
Yeah.
Right? It's that I want to put this facade on that I'm an entrepreneur. And I'll be honest, I was guilty of it. Like, and you hear people talk about it. Entrepreneurship is the hardest freaking thing that you can
It's dirty.
do.
It's nasty.
Dirty.
It's not easy. It totally sucks.
Dude, like
yeah.
like waking up with the night sweats, like no one wants to talk about any of this. It's like, no, you gotta they get rich quick. No one's getting rich
Having
quick.
15 reminders, even just to tie your shoe on your phone, like, are you? No,
no one's got there. Like even these people you see, I mean, they're doing it to get your money. They're lying to you. They're not being real with you. Like you can't. Sure, you can travel the world and make money on social media, but getting $100,000 checks each month, they're working their butt off to do that, or they did to get to that point.
Exactly.
And now they're marketing to you and telling you about this, and they're telling you this product that's so great that you can do it. Anyone can have it. If anyone can, if it's that easy, you're not gonna. It's not. You're not. It's not real.
Right.
It's just not.
It's like the guys down at Innovation with Likely AI, right? Who have literally come up with an app
From
on
Slovakia.
iOS, and I guess they will be launching on Android soon. I saw in it wasn't TechCrunch, but in the online digital journal, it's very similar to TechCrunch. They featured them, and I was like, "Nice, man! That's really This is a business duo from Slovakia or Slovakia, right?
Slovakia, I think.
Who have basically
They're gonna kill me, but yeah.
pulled their
remember.
resources to create an app that goes through some of these social influence profiles like the ones you're talking about who are making a lot of money on social media or maybe just really care about themselves on social media and are taking hundreds of pictures in the same exact area, location, spot. And this app has an application or an algorithm on it that
It's AI. It's artificial
yeah,
intelligence.
it is artificial intelligence in some Slovakian way. Those guys are awesome though. That shows you
Facebook
which
and Google do
is
that, too.
going to get the highest percentage of likes, right? Like out of your following.
Yeah,
That's
it's
nuts.
Yeah, so they're using, I guess it's historical stuff.
Just
that's based
taking
on-
advantage of self-absorbance.
It's cool for brands to be able to say, all right, here's 5 images. I don't know which one we should post, but to take it and be like, all right, this one's going to generate the most impressions, the most, people are going to
On a personal level.
But yeah, so you can do it on a personal level as well. And so I don't care about my Instagram. You can follow me all you want to.
Hit them up at...
I don't know.
How many
just
people are
my name.
looking at their cell phones right now and just like, what can this thing do that I don't know?
Oh, yeah, that's...
So many I read an article this morning. It popped up on my phone. It was, Dear iPhone, I love you. Dear iPhone, I hate you, or something. It was something like that. The Wall Street Journal posted it, but it was like all the good things that the iPhone has generated, but also all the bad things that it has generated as well. And get off your iPhone. Like, for real. If you're an entrepreneur, other than consulting and doing business and stuff, and there's some really cool apps and all that jazz, but, like, it is the biggest time consumer.
It is.
It just sucks it.
Let me tell you what. I told you this earlier. I put my phone on airplane mode regardless of the day or night. I don't care who's trying to reach out to me. And I have some people who are reaching out with me globally throughout the night. I don't play with it. I put it on airplane mode at 10 o'clock every single night. I don't mess around with it. I wake up at 5:30 and I take it off, and it blows up.
Right.
But that's my peace, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I am working at 10 o'clock unless I absolutely need it for communication. It's on airplane mode. You're not going to find me. And that is the most freeing feeling, man. Just like, I'm gone, Let me zone in. And that doesn't mean I'm not working, but let me just zone in on this project, or let me sleep.
Yeah,
or
I will say though, it is difficult as an entrepreneur. The whole goal is to be as lean as possible, right? Sure. And so you have a phone. That's your method of communication, whether email, text, phone call, whatever that may be. And so to some degree, you've got to keep your phone on you. And so it's really there's a lot of temptation that your phone brings.
I'll tell you what I do.
So-
This is a rule I've had for a little while. I don't have any social media apps or games on my phone.
My girlfriend's like that, man.
Really?
Yeah, and it's difficult.
What do you?
Yeah, you also don't
What's your
run the
phone-
Millennovator Facebook page.
But I'm not spending $1,000 on an iPhone for
Right, that's true too.
for just
For a phone, a calculator, and video camera.
I'm telling you, if you can not do games on your phone
I don't do
at all,
games.
and then you can not do social media. Now, I'm not saying you don't if you have to work on social media sites and stuff like Will does for our Millennovator page, you can get on your computer, but if it's not on your phone, it's helped me so much in wasting time throughout the day.
Well, Drew, tell me more real quick. Where can people find you? What's your website? Do you have any social sites? And that kind of gig. And of course, we'll link you in the show notes. We're going to give you the hookup on all that kind of stuff. But just let them know before we get off the air.
Yeah, so it's, I guess, www.axleadvertisements.com. And then I think all the socials are Axle Ads. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Not as active on it as I need to be because I'm driving business, not playing on social. Not to.
Mic drop.
It's good. God, we can get into a whole thing on it.
Episode 2, my friend.
I'd rather go make a sale than post on social.
Well, man, we appreciate you being here today. It was an awesome interview.
Yeah.
Keep doing the good thing. Keep fighting the good fight. Hopefully somebody out there that is a Millennovator has been inspired by what you've said today. I love your story, man. That's why you're on the show. I love the success that you're seeing today. I appreciate you. I respect you. And thanks for being here.
Glad to be here. Yeah, reach out. I will respond if you email me, which I don't know how we can do that. It's just drew@axleadvertisements.com. Seriously, email me. I will respond. That would actually mean a lot. So, because a lot of you, 95% of you will not do it. I guarantee you.
He's a connector, though. I'm telling you, it's worth it.
That's a test. 95% of people won't email you.
Man.
So I'm going to go back and pull these stats from this podcast episode in the future months and get back with you on that.
You're going to have to. We'll have to do this again. So thank you. Enjoyed it, guys.
All right, man. Thanks, man.
Now check it out one time, I got a show to do. And if you love hip-hop, I'm about to phone with you.
Well, that is Drew Jackson from Axle Advertisements.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like I always say, I just love to hear people's stories. I mean, so unique, and obviously the way he started his business is no different.
Well, listen, the fact of the matter is, when else would you ever have a pristine opportunity to just start a business? You don't just have now's the right time to do it. Oh, because now I've done this and now's the perfect time for me as an entrepreneur to start a business.
There's no perfect time to do anything in life.
Look, entrepreneurship is dirty, man. We talked about that. It is nasty. It is tough. You are on the front lines. It's gritty. Taxes suck. They kill us. The attorney fees, it's so impossible, right? It seems your mind is going 1,000 miles an hour at all times.
Yeah.
But what's so important and what Drew focused in on, and Jonathan, I know this is something you're passionate about, is looking back in the mirror at yourself and saying, it's not about me. I'm doing this for somebody else. How can I help my demographic of people? Or how can I help this one person find somebody else to help them? And that's what Drew does so well.
Yeah, I mean, not only is he obviously, as we talked about, just such a great connector of people, but he's just so willing to help other people. And that stood out to us the first time we met Drew. And he's just so willing to push himself to new levels. I mean, I know he talked about having several mentors. I've had a business coach in the past that really helped me, but really the part of having a mentor or a coach or anything like that is that you have to be willing to submit to what they tell you. It's not always just rainbows and butterflies where you hear, oh, how great you are. That's not what a mentor does. They tell you the stuff that you don't want to hear.
Challenge.
And you have to be, and you're going to be challenged, and that's part of it, and that's the good part of it. You're going to change. But as far as Drew goes, I remember it made a lasting impression on me, and I want to say on both of us. The first time we met him, we talked to him over lunch, and we just had a great conversation, a long conversation. At the end, he just said, what can I do to help you guys? And just the fact that when he says that, I mean, he's a connector of people. He's always wanting to help someone connect to someone else. And how can he help you in your business? And I think, I'm in a BNI group. I don't know if any of you out there know what that is, but their philosophy is givers gain. I mean, that's so cliche, but it's so true. I mean, you have to be a giver to get, and that's something that Drew is all about, and you can really see how it's come true in his business and in his life.
Well, and I would challenge you to think before you speak, but don't think about what you're going to say next. Think about what they just told you. What is some second level thinking? Get into the brain of that person. If they're asking you a specific question, that means that either that's keeping them up at night, or they're thinking about that more heavily, or there's a second tier. There's always another level to the onion, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's never just your first thought or your first question. So Drew does that really, really well. It gets down to the bottom of things in a very professional and very personal way. And I think that everyone could do a better job of challenging themselves to just listen.
Yep.
So I want to challenge you this week to listen to your customer, even if they are just some people on the side who are paying you side money for you to get that side hustle done. Listen to them, listen to their needs, listen to their wants, and go back and respond to that. Speak to them in the mannerisms that they want to hear.
Yeah, don't respond to how can I make money from them. Respond to what are they trying to tell me that they want, and then everything else will come out of that.
Giver's gain.
Giver's gain.
I love that. Guys, it was so much fun today interviewing Drew Jackson. I really hope that you're going to love and take home these little nuggets and implement them as often as you can. Don't forget, subscribe to us on iTunes.
Subscribe.
Leave us some reviews, whatever reviews you'd like. And don't forget to check out the website, man. We've got boatloads of content on the site,
Man.
all geared and dedicated to transforming your side hustle into a full-time hustle, just like Drew did straight out of college. That's what I'm talking about.
Just got to get started. Get in there and get after it.
Get out there and get after it this week, guys. Talk to you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to call your mother and tell that woman that you love her. And if you love the show almost as much, subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a sweet review. We're definitely not ashamed to blush. Now, go forward and implement what you learned from today's episode into your business. We cannot wait to personally hear your story of success and replicate it 1,000 times over.
Give me the mic, not down, blow right down. I'm trying to sit it not down.